You guys ready to talk about theater? Also to ignore my really weird fan lines? Alright, cool. In the world of theater, life is fast and hectic, and there's no better feeling than when everything finally comes together on opening night. Even when a show is up and running, there's always the possibility of something going horribly wrong, and we, as theater professionals, or ex-theater students/interns, if you're me, we're taught to just roll with the punches, get it done, flex our imagination and creativity as far as it will go to make sure that everything comes together. But there tends to be this really funny state of mind in both costume shops and prop shops, which is where I spent the majority of my time, that suggests that no one understands. No one gets how hard this is. No one really knows how to do this correctly or passionately, but I'm here to say to you, theater schools of the world, that there is a big, blossoming, incredible community that is constantly overlooked by you, and you should be finding them. Today's episode is called Why Theaters Need Cosplayers. I'm Dodger, and on behalf of all of us, welcome to the theater fandom. So in college, my major was theater. I don't know if you can tell. I was involved in every aspect I could get my hands on. I did costumes, I did acting, I did set building, I did sound design. I tried to do all of it, but I was also very interested in cosplay and conventions and the whole community surrounding that, even since high school. And I found myself wondering one day, why don't we have cosplayers in the costume and prop shops? Why, when I search for cosplay scholarship, is it like I've Google image searched for deserts? What a good joke, Dodger. Thanks, guys. There's this crazy Venn diagram that no one ever seems to see or appreciate, and I'd like to walk you through why that is. Also, I'm going to utilize the framework of things that I've heard in costume shops and prop shops in the past, so let's get to it. Ugh, these kids have no passion, they just want a grade. If you're looking for people who are legitimately passionate about costumes and props and weapons and armor and all of it, you will find that in the cosplay community. It's literally made up of young women and men who have taught themselves how to do all of this. They've literally spent hours and hours and hours and days of their lives learning how to sew, how to mold, how to fix a wig. Don't spend that much time on something unless you love it, especially in a world like cosplay, where there's so much scrutiny and criticism around your skill and your presentation. Consistent cosplayers will grow with every costume, and they'll take every criticism as a building block. They learn different techniques, they seek guidance from other people in the community, and they want so desperately to improve. So why can't you be the one who teaches them? I just can't get any of my students to do the proper research. Here's a fun fact: cosplayers are insane researchers. When you choose to embody an existing character, the level of detail is so key. I know people who will spend days going through pages and pages and pages, like say it's a comic book character, right? You need to find a way to see every angle of that character, to know every element of the costume to accurately represent them. If they're doing like a spin on it or a crossover of some kind, sometimes people put together entire binders of where they came from, what their life was like, as much information as they can possibly get, so that even though they have that creative freedom to make a different costume, it still accurately represents who they are as a character. When I was in school doing this, research was everything. Know the play inside and out, know the characters, come up with a vision and stick to it and communicate with the director. And cosplayers, above all else, want to do their very best. Oh, you're all so weird about touching each other. I guess just take down measurement notes. So this is like a little weird thing, but I think it's worth mentioning that an odd complaint I've heard a couple of times now is that students, when they are put in a position where they have to measure another student, it gets super weird. Because suddenly you're all up in their business and you accidentally graze a boob and then you act awkward and then the actor acts awkward and then you just wish that you had kept taking measurement notes, right? You wish you hadn't even volunteered to actually measure the person because it got so weird. Unfortunately, if you work in a costume shop, you're gonna have to measure people's bust size. Also, their inseam, which can get weird as well. Here's a little thing that's awesome about cosplayers, is that not all of them, but a decent number of them have made costumes for their friends before. I think there's just a level that people get to where they're like, man, going to conventions is really fun and I have all of these cool outfits, but man, I really wish somebody was there with me, like cosplaying with me. You know what? I'm just gonna make you a costume and you come with me and we'll be friends, okay? And then suddenly they're making Susie down the street a Star Trek dress. Or sometimes they're making costumes for other people to make some money. Either way, it doesn't matter. The point is, it's not a big deal to teach somebody how to take measurements. You gotta get over that weird, awkward feeling eventually of like, oh no, I'm gonna touch your junk by accident. But chances are, a cosplayer won't have to learn, they'll already know. Look, Missy, when it gets to crunch time, you'll know what it's really like. This is like a really mean costume shop character that I've created. I promise you, I've never worked with somebody who is as patronizing as this is sounding. So, costume shops and teachers across the globe, guess what one of the best parts about having a cosplayer in your shop would be? They have spent their entire costume life with deadlines. More often than not, a costume is being made with an event in mind. There's such and such meetup or such and such convention that is happening in so many days or so many months, and man, it would be really awesome to go as insert character. They will pull some crazy all-nighters to get that costume done, and I, in school, had to pull plenty of all-nighters to get dumb things done, like a dinosaur mask for a dance show. God, that was the worst. They are dedicated, hard workers, and they know what it's like to have a time crunch and need to get something done at a specific point. Now you might be asking, Dodger, why theater? Why not film? Film, of course, would fill the same needs, but I'm biased and I love theater. There's just a thrill and a joy of sharing your art with people in person that cosplayers totally get. With theater, there's something so electric about being in an audience and seeing your costumes on stage as part of something so much bigger, and knowing that everybody that's out there is seeing it for the very first time. There's also something horrifying about that staff that you spent, oh, like a week and a half making and painting and molding, just snapping in half because the actor knocked it against the chair. It's not a big deal, I'm not crying. But either way, it's live. It's happening in the same room with you, and there's an energy that you get out of that that's so special, in my opinion. So what can you do to find them? Well, I would say number one is come to events that have a big cosplay turnout. Most schools that come to the events that I'm used to are looking for programmers and game designers. It would be amazing to see a school there, even just people walking around handing out flyers of some sort that are looking specifically for cosplayers. If that's not possible for your school, like say that you're super small like my university was and you just can't fly people out willy-nilly to go to different conventions, that's perfectly fine. Use the internet, man. There are forums all over the place that are entirely cosplayers just interacting with each other, sharing pictures and tips and tricks and ideas, and you could be on there giving them opportunities. Now, cosplayers, if this is something that you'd want in the future, there are plenty of scholarships out there for theater, but not that many that are specifically for costuming. That's specifically for undergrad. Grad schools are completely different. They're way more focused and specialized. But for undergrad, you really need to show them that you're worth it. Take pictures, keep your sketches and designs. It's well known that there are plenty of cosplayers out there who commission their costumes and don't actually make them themselves. So the best plan for you is to take process pictures, keep everything, and put together a binder to show them. Be proud of the hard work you did. Show them that you are worth their time, their energy, and their money. Long story short, I love theater and I love cosplay, and if the two can come together to help people go to university or college and follow their dreams and do something that they're passionate about and really love, that would be an amazing marriage. Or I'm sure there are plenty of other career possibilities in the world where people just don't realize that cosplayers are an option. And if you're watching this video right now, I hope that this helped you realize that. To cosplayers and theater kids alike, I hope that you enjoyed, and welcome to the fandom.